Hello guys, it's Nato Ace here. I want to give my thoughts as well about Joe Rogan's latest opinion on video games, how he considered it a waste of time. This is also a response to various YouTubers who gave their take on the situation. Believe it or not, to some extent, Joe Rogan has some points, just like what other YouTubers said. The problem was, some people didn't understand the context behind what he said. I'm going to expand on his opinion and try to put it with my experience when it comes to video games. Just like most YouTubers said, video games is a hobby at first, but that passion can become a career. Like for Ninja being a streamer, the Spawncast crew talking about video games, heck, AVGN and Irate Gamer doing skits that involves video games. And yes, at the same time, it's not for everyone and just prefer to be a recreation. What Joe Rogan said is that if your life revolves around video game and that's your only purpose, and hope to high horse that this isn't your purpose, and don't bother with more in real life priorities, then yes, it's a waste of time. Video games can be good for you unless you know your priorities like responsibilities or education. Here's a backstory about my experience with video games as a kid. When I was still at school, I wasn't allowed to play video games until the summer season. The reason is it affected my priorities on education. In other words, I wasn't doing good. And yes, it happened to me. There was at one point as an experiment to see if I can set my priorities straight by allowing me to play video games on weekends. Sadly, it failed because the rule of no video game until summer season. If it was left unchecked, I could have been struggling to finish my education. Bigger than that is what most other YouTubers said. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, like making a living or taking care of your family, then video games can be a waste of time. Heck, any hobby can be a time waster. It just depends on your perspective, what is more priority to you. It never hurts to have a little bit of fun as long as you know your priorities. Also keep in mind that it seems Joe Rogan may not be in tune to the gaming community, seeing he's more of an outside activity type of guy. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, he used to be an MMA, so just make a note of that. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Joe Rogan's opinion of video games being a waste of time. At the end of the day, it's just his opinion, and I understand the stigma of video games, which can be bad due to past history. The key is just to set your priorities straight. Also, I want to add this in this vlog, and that is another video I did in the past, but at that time it was an exclusive, and that is my thoughts in response to Review Tech USA on father forced kid to break his Xbox consoles because of poor grades. So it's kind of like related to what Joe Rogan kind of said about video game, that he believes, in his honest opinion, in his personal opinion, that it's a time waster. To some extent, that if you don't set your priorities straight, you know, people have to take action to remove your privilege fund. For this particular video that I'm going to be talking about in the second half is my thoughts of why did the father force the kid break the console, and of course the general reason is, well, the kid wasn't doing too good in school and probably too much video game. I don't know the whole story about it. You know, like I said, it's just a response to Review Tech USA, and it is what Joe Rogan was saying, that it can be a time waster if you're not putting your priorities straight. Okay, you're not doing good in school, you're playing Xbox rather learning whatever in school. That is a problem, and to a point that the father had to do some drastic measure just to teach the kid.
Hello guys, Nato Ace here once again, and this is gonna be a real talk video basically responding to Review Tech USA on father forced kid to smash his Xbox after he gets bad grades. Yeah, this is gonna be a real talk, so if you chance are watching this, it's gonna be on Vimeo. Again, real talk, and to some extent, it is a touchy subject because, at one side, it's kind of sad seeing a console, you breaking it just to teach the kid a lesson. But at the same time, kind of think like, maybe the kid does deserve it because he had bad grades, and I sort of can relate to that. So this is really a real talk here. So that's what's gonna be on Vimeo. So basically, this is gonna be a response to Review Tech USA. So yeah, just like Review Tech USA, I have seen this video. I saw it on Facebook when I was talking to my friends about it. And at first glance, I think about it, I say, wow, did that went too far? Like, are you crazy? That's blood money you're doing, or you work so hard, and I guess you want to go to the extreme, and well, you force your kid to break the Xbox. In first glance, I mean, as a gamer, as somebody who's passionate for gaming, yeah, I'm like, I would be pissed off because it's a good, perfect machine. The Xbox 360, Xbox One, whatever, and you're destroying it. You're giving, to some extent, the gaming community a middle finger for that. Oh, so the kid gets bad grades. Alright. So, that's only first glance. But when you think about it, when you think more about this, it's about education, how important education is. And I kind of can relate to that when I was in high school, believe it or not. Believe it or not, to some extent, yes, I'm not like the top student. I get decent grade, but that's in the past. But the thing is, sometimes, and you always hear this from people who basically are passionate about video games, is, I quote, when they get bad grades, when they do bad things, when they do get in trouble, they take away my video game privileges. Yeah, it's a punishment. If you do something wrong, and you're not doing good in school or whatever, or you're having a negative impact in your life that can actually affect others, yeah, what do? You take away the fun, you take away the privileges. And since I like video games, they take away my video game. I used to remember, especially whether I'm in grade school, junior high, or high school, it doesn't matter. When they start getting bad grades, I'm getting bad scores on my tests, you take away the fun. They take away my video game. When I'm in grade school, they take away my NES. When I'm in high school or junior high to high school, they take away my Super Nintendo. Because of the timeline, and etc. etc. Because I remember one of my year, I really was doing bad in one of my classes. Not really good with math, or kind of like lazy. And I had a really, really bad grade, and my mom got upset at me. And what's the punishment? I'm gonna take away your Super Nintendo. You think, oh, that's pretty harsh. No, that's a punishment. If you do bad things, you take away privileges. But the most people did say about this that, why not just take it away? Why even go to the extreme to embarrass the kid, traumatize the kid, and just to teach him a lesson? Well, once out this push comes to shove, you do need to be extreme if the kid is not learning. And it's like Review Tech USA said, if basically he said the dad was basically doesn't really care about the kid, or like what's the kid's doing in school, and he's just doing his own thing, and by the time the grade comes and you get an F, or the kid's not getting the good grades, and he all of a sudden just say, how come you're not getting good grades? What you been doing? Yeah, as Review Tech USA said, the dad could be a jerk. But like he said, if the dad was basically concerned, he's doing whatever he can, kind of like with my mom did. Same deal with my mom did, calling the school, calling the teacher, the principal, the counselor, whatever. Like, my kid is not doing good, can you please do something, can you help my kid do something about it? Then yeah, you say, well, that's still a little extreme. Yeah, I mean, I think it is a little extreme, but a lot of them, when push comes to shove, you do need to teach them a lesson. So, by the trauma, that he got, at the same time, it's a learning experience that the dad gave him 3 weeks of school, or weeks, to fix his grade, and he couldn't. And that's what happens. I mean, the severe punishment, like I said, really is to take away your privileges. That's it. That's all it is to it. I mean, my mom's not that strict about it, but at one point she was even considering that, again, to teach me a lesson, not to screw up at school. I mean, you think it was school. I mean, as teenagers sometimes it depends of your mentality, philosophy of school. Some believe school important. Some of us, we're idiots. We just motivation's not there. Like we don't give a hoot about it. I mean, I was in that somewhere in that between. But the important, you gotta understand, school is important. Without it, you can't go to college. Let's take it back. Without a high school degree, you can't get a job. Because when push comes to shove, nobody's gonna hire somebody without a high school degree at least. That's what it is. But anyway, yes, the dad was a little bit extreme, but when push comes to shove, to really teach the kid the lesson to remember, not do it. So in his back of his head, he'll remember not to do that again, not to do bad grades. So again, I do agree with what Review Tech USA said. It is a little bit extreme, but sometimes you need to cross that line. You need to be a little bit extreme to learn a lesson that you're not going to do that. Because sometimes the problem is, even so, you take it away, you do a good grade, you do something about it, you get mad at the kid, you're trying to help them, etc., etc. Sometimes it still doesn't work because it's not their. Maybe they're having a hard time, but to some extent, it also is they're not motivated. They can do the work, but why are you getting B's and C's if you could probably get A's if you're just willing to learn? That's the thing. I can relate to that kid when I was young. Like I said, the only extreme is they just take away my privilege, which is mostly what people always say. I do agree with that. But sometimes is a little bit extreme does kind of help. And I know it is it's wrong, and I do believe it's wrong. But again, push comes to shove, you gotta do what you gotta do to help kids to get better. That's how it is. I tutor kids as a job at one point. Yeah, I seen bad grades. I'm like, wow, you gotta learn. You can't just make your butt sound. I do apologize for that. But the point is, education is important. As I said, if the dad was really cared, like Review Tech USA said, if the dad really was caring, he did whatever he could and still kids not doing anything, I agree. A little bit extreme, but at least he'll learn. But if, like Review Tech USA said, the dad didn't really care until it was too late, then what were you doing? Yeah, like I said, when I was in high school, my mom did whatever it takes to help me do it, and I did help. Going early to learn from my teachers, going to tutor classes, reading more. Because it's not something that I can't do it. It's not student can't do it or not dumb. It's just motivation. If you're a person that you don't care about education or you're really just not interested, then of course you don't want to learn. It's unfortunate. It is, but again, education is important. So, again, I do agree with what Review Tech USA there. It's a little bit extreme, but like I said, sometimes a little bit extreme does help motivate the kid to do better in school. So, this is really real talk, and thanks for listening.
And with that, I'll see you guys later.